Kushe couple, welcome everyone to my YouTube channel. My name is Marion. I am the CEO and designer at Meiji Jewelry. So the purpose of this video is to talk through my upgrade in my market setup, and I will also be recapping my first market that I attended at the start of this year. Since starting my markets in 2023, I have progressively been working to improve, upgrade my market stall setup. Why have I been doing that? Because it helps to keep me motivated for the next market. It helps to keep me interested in what I'm doing, helps me to look forward, I guess, to my own creativity and to see what I can achieve. My current setup is not my final, but it's getting closer and closer to what kind of feels like a more ultimate vision that I've had for my market setup since I started attending markets last year. And I'm in general very proud of my setup. So I thought it'd be great for me to share my experience with you thus far. The areas I worked on and will be covering in this video include my thank you and backing cards, my business cards, my thank you stickers, my display stands for my rings, my Meiju banner signage for the markets, my waist big pegboard, my overall space layout. My revamp process, I struggle with that word revamp. Anyway, my revamp process started the moment I began attending markets, in a sense that I would take notes on how I wanted to improve the next market and the next market and the next market. So it was continuous. If I wasn't at markets, I would be at home researching on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, any social media that I have access to, basically, to figure out what I could adopt for my future market stalls setups. So if I was at a place that had nothing to do with my markets, I would make sure to try to connect it back to my setups. If I was at Kmart, Officeworks, IKEA, dollar stores, restaurants, literally anywhere, I allowed myself to be inspired. At every market, I would endeavor to have at least one new method of displaying my jewelry with either an existing or new display item. Having this type of mindset of, I guess, being in the lookout for what could be utilized anywhere I go has been tremendous in helping me with my setup to get to where I am now. When it comes to my business cards, I actually only got it 2 months into attending markets, and I've gone through 3 different phases to get to the business card that I have now. So this one right here, it's really cute, it's small, which is what I wanted at the start. I made it on Canva and printed it on cardstock paper that I bought from Officeworks. This worked fine. It served its purpose. It's cute, it's compact, and I got the information on there that I wanted. So I've got my logo, I've got my email that you can contact, I've got a barcode scanner to access my Instagram, and then at the back I have a affirmation. By the way, the affirmation on this says, I am compassionate and warm to my body. Yeah, I need that because it's too cold. It's too cold. No, that's not why I need it, but it's just nice. At this point, I knew that this was not going to be my final card. So I was still playing around with my brand identity. So I didn't have my colors finalized. I didn't have a design, shape, lines, all of that figured out just yet. This is literally just the initial phase. So this is my second phase of my business cards. It's made with the Avery business card paper, that's 190 GSM. I only ended up using a couple of sheets because at first it was really nice. I like the thickness of the paper, which is an improvement to this first one. But then I wanted to be able to print back to front, double-sided, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get it to work on my printer. And so I was like, okay, this is cute, it's much better, but maybe I should just outsource instead. Maybe it's time for me to finally do that. Which brings me to my third phase of my business card, which is this. And funny enough, it is not double-sided. Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny how the creation phase takes place. I say I want this, but then this is what happens instead. Anyway, this is where I'm at now. I quite like this card. I love the design. It's a lot more simpler. It feels a lot more official, which is what I wanted. It's a lot thicker than the Avery business cards paper that I bought. I decided to go with a rounded edge instead of a straight a straight cut edge, which ends up making it like a full square, or actually rectangle in this case. I like how much more simple it is in terms of color. So now I've only used technically 2 colors, but I'll say 3 because of the white as well. So there's the white, there's a really dark shade of like a red, brown, maroon color, and then there's a brown color as well, which is my main Miju color now. I have my QR code that takes my customers directly to my Instagram. I've got my website handle there. I created my slogan finally. So up until this time, I didn't have a slogan. So my slogan is authentic, intentional you. And what was really cool about this is, like, in my research that I did on Pinterest, I saw that businesses had punch cards or loyalty cards, and I've always been interested in those. So I added a punch card section on on my business card with a discount at the end for my customers, I guess, to increase returns and loyalty. I wanted a reason for them to keep the business cards, because I guess we're in a day and age where it's not become redundant. Like, people still use business cards, but it's not often kept because you can just access that information on a website, on your phone, etc. So I wanted to give people more of a reason to take the business card, and first of all, not feel like they're just wasting trees. But then also for them to be able to come back to my markets because of the discount. The process of designing the card was pretty simple. It's similar to Canva, but I didn't use Canva this time around. I did use Vistaprint, and I just went onto their design space and then looked up different templates. They were pretty easy to use, pretty straightforward, which was great because it didn't take up a lot of time. And then I just built my business card off of an existing one, and I added my punch card and yeah, the rest of my information. I ordered the rounded corner business card. It was a quantity of 250 and the total was $37.98, including $8.99 shipping. Yes, I am reading it. What about it? After designing through the design space on Vistaprint, I placed my order and it came within 2 weeks, and I was so excited for my business cards because I was like, it's another level, taking it to another level. This is not my final business card in any way, shape or form. I really do like it. I like how much more simple it is. I like how it's a lot more official. Again, compared to this, that's where I started. At the same time, I'm very excited to see what else I'm going to come up with, what else I'm going to create. So yeah, it's great. Let's go. So hot tip with business cards, I think it's best to start with something as simple as possible, similar to what I did, which is starting with a design on Canva, which you can then print yourself with cardstock that you get from Officeworks. So it can be just general cardstock, it can be ones that are more business card oriented, like the Avery ones that I have, that I used in my second phase. This is a great way to start off if you're still experimenting with the design aspects of your brand identity. If you already have the finalized design of your business card, including, you know, your color scheme, your slogan, your website information, QR code, all those little information that, you know, is vital for your business card, then it doesn't hurt to get your card printed externally through a place like Vista Create or I don't know what else there is out there. I think even Canva itself, you could get it printed from directly, I believe. I just didn't choose that when I started. Great, so the next part that I'm going to talk about are my thank you and backing cards. So all of 2023 and 2024, I didn't have backing cards, but it had been a goal of mine to have them and use them in my packaging for my markets and online sales. So I used Canva to create a new backing card and to update my thank you card, and got them both printed by Canva this time around. I spent $130 for 100 cards. I selected the premium matte finish paper and the order came in 5 days. I was excited to finally have backing cards because it's like another level again of officialness. I think that is a word. But then I was surprised by the size of the print. Oh boy. So these are what came. And for reference, actually, let me put up to my face. The print quality is really nice. I love the thickness of the paper. I love the color. It's so beautiful. It's so smooth. It's nice, but yeah, it's just too big. It was just way too big because I wanted an A7 size, and and I thought this was going to be A7 because when I looked at the file template type, it said A7, but it wasn't. I needed an A7 print for my packaging that I had planned because I also bought cellophane bags, and yeah, these were not going to fit in my cellophane bag that I had bought. So I went with plan B of using Officeworks to print both the thank you cards and the backing cards. Because I was using Officeworks, I had to change out my layout for my designs. So that is how I set it up on an A4 page. So I brought the file to Officeworks and asked them to print it on a paper of my choosing. It cost about $1.70 per A4 color page. For the thank you cards, for example, they were double-sided. Single-sided print is about $1. I printed about 4 to 6 cards per page. And in general, I found out that I had more flexibility in printing both of these cards at Officeworks. So if I wanted to experiment with something smaller or bigger, I can easily do so, in the sense that, yeah, so if I wanted to make some of these cards slightly bigger than the other one, I could, if I didn't want to stick to my A7 dimensions. So the overall print quality was sharp, but it was lighter in color than what I had imagined, but then that's okay. So another thing that I worked on was my thank you stickers. So with those ones, it was very minor. I just updated the design slightly to have less white space. So I created it on Canva again and printed it on my Moonbin thermal printer. So yeah, it works great. It's fast. That's it for that one. The next part that I worked on for my market display was my display stands for my rings. For the longest time, I have been researching on Pinterest, watching other jewelers at markets, how they set up their rings to get inspiration for this. Because I make beaded rings, they tend to flatten. So this is part of my golden pewter collection. So if I'm not careful, it flattens like that. Right, because it's literally just beads, so it doesn't have like a very solid form compared to metal rings. I knew I had to be on the hunt for something that would help them to keep their shape and their form when displayed. I believe that it was on Pinterest where I saw cones being used as a display for the rings. Got one right here. How good is that? So these are what I mean by cones. Because they are solid shape and circular, I hoped my ring would form around the cones perfectly and maintain a more circular shape. So in my research, I could not find any locally to purchase, so I had to look online. They were thankfully available on AliExpress, and yeah, I did not hesitate to purchase them. So the total was $94.98 for 4 ring displays. They took around 2 weeks to arrive, and when they did arrive, I assembled one of them straight away to do a trial. It looked amazing, and I'm going to upload the photos of the test. Can I do that here? I don't know. Anyway, it's gonna be here somewhere. So prior to getting these displays, I had been using the cake stand that I got from Kmart, this one right here. So it was really great. It was inexpensive. It was simple to set up because it's collapsible. The tiers were good. I think it was 4 because it allowed the rings to be seen with separation, like with the gap, which I liked because what is it? It's not descending. What's the opposite of descending? Upsending? But my main problem was that the rings were kind of all bunched together. That took away from, I guess, the ring looking as special as it could. And this is more especially for my flag rings, by the way. They are something that I've designed, and as far as I'm aware, someone can correct me if it's already been done before, I am the first to create the flag ring designs with the Miyuki Delica beads. And so I really wanted something that can, I guess, highlight each of the individual rings, and the cake stand just was not doing it because I was just bunching them together. Basically, they did not get the highlight that they deserved. So the next part that I'm gonna talk about is my Miju signage banner, which is literally just for the markets. This is another item that I've had on my mind in wanting to have at my markets. So again, I was inspired by other YouTubers, people on Pinterest boards, I should say. Interestingly, I had overcomplicated the process of having a banner for my market stalls. And I also was not set in my logo and brand identity. So that's, I guess, another reason why I didn't have it up until this year. So I found a banner size that I wanted to print on Officeworks on their website, but I could not match the size on Canva for me to actually then design it. So I reached out to a good friend of mine, Nathaniel, aka Not Your Nate on Instagram. He has access to and great experience with Adobe Illustrator. Once the design was done, I printed it at Officeworks. It is 428mm times 841mm at 100 GSM, and it was the matte polyester finish, and the price for that was $20, which was great. It's a great entry-level way to have a banner without spending over $100. This type of banner signage is intended for indoor use, which is stated on the Officeworks website. So I taped it down to a core-foot board to increase the durability and strength. I also put eyelets in the corners, in the four corners, so that it can be hung up with string depending on how I want it to be displayed. The core foot and eyelets I bought from Bunnings. So this section that I'm going to talk about now is the Pegboard Shelf. When I started to make waist beads in 2022, I envisioned displaying my waist beads on a pegboard shelf in a store, in a market. However, when I began actually attending markets in 2023, I had limited stock of waist bead, and I used IKEA tabletop pegboards as it was the perfect size. Towards the end of 2023, I continued my research on shelf displays for the waist beads and narrowed my options down to 2 in Melbourne. I chose to buy the Sea Retail Pegboard Shelf as it was much closer to home in terms of distance, and it looked great in quality. Since it was closer to home, I was able to go to the showroom and have a browse of their display options in person. This was really helpful for me because I'm definitely more of a visual person. I tend to not like online shopping as much. I prefer to just go in and have a look at what I'm trying to get. So this was really helpful in selecting the type of shelf that would work best for my waist beads. The total for the Volcano pegboard kit with a drawer and hooks from Sea Retail was $426, including shipping. My waist bead display journey is as follows. I started displaying my waist beads with a single IKEA pegboard. I then moved to 2 when I created more styles and increased my stock. Now I have a 1.8 meter times 0.9 meter standing pegboard, and this I use to display my traditional tie-on and stretch cord waist beads. Since the IKEA pegboards are convenient and easy to assemble at literally every market, I have continued to use them for my signage and other small products. The next section I'm going to talk about is my space layout, but before I do that, I'm just gonna, So when I made a decision to buy the standing pegboard, I brainstormed how I could change my market booth layout. So I had to factor in the length of the tables I was going to be using for my rings, my bracelets, my stickers, and also what position that they could be in. Did I want to continue using my 2 meter table I had progressed to? Did I want to split up my products against 2 smaller tables? Or did I want a U shape, T shape, L shape moving forward? Fortunately, whilst window shopping at IKEA, I found a white tabletop that was at 160 centimeters long in the sale section. That would work perfectly for my upcoming market at the time. I also bought some IKEA adjustable legs to attach to the tabletops to be able to raise the height so that customers don't have to bend down to look at my products, and to also keep the table flat on uneven grounds at markets. After receiving my newly purchased display items, I sketched out some ideas on paper to prepare for the upcoming market. Once I realized that sketching on paper was not going to be enough of a visual confirmation, I began setting the sketches up in my living room. So I first marked out the marquee size with tape and played around with the placement of the tables, my pegboard, incorporating the U, T, and L shape. I think there's more, by the way. So I ended up selecting the L shape for the tables with the pegboard in the opposite corner of the marquee. These are some of the reasons why I ended up with an L shape. This L shape allows customers to stand in the center of the booth, under the marquee, and sheltered away from elements. It is visually appealing with products visible at all angles. And compared to one long table, the products are spread out, giving the customers space to look and browse without having to look over other people's shoulders. It's a lot less crowded. So now I'm gonna go over a recap and answer some questions about my first market that I attended with my updated setup. Time-wise, the display took a lot longer this time around compared to last year because now I have a pegboard. So the pegboard itself needs to be put up, and this was the first time actually setting it up outside of the house. And then the rings themselves, because I've bought the cones, they need to be individually placed in their slots. So that takes a great deal of time to do. And not just that, the flag rings, I decided I wanted them to be in alphabetical order, which of course makes a lot of sense, and that should be how I set it up. But that actually takes a lot of time because I have not memorized the flag designs that I have already made and in alphabetical order. So I'm having to like look at the diagram that I have at the top and then look at the ring and okay, cool, this one's here, that one. Anyway, you get my drift. Since it was the very first time we're setting up the pegboard and the two tables at the market, doing the mock-up at home came in handy, creating less stress on the day. Having a separate setup and space for the waist beads on the standing pegboard increased the visibility of the designs and caught people's attentions from afar. On the day, I saw an increase in sales in my flag rings collections, and I believe it is because of the new displays, which allows each flag to be individually displayed on the cones. Like I said, it allowed them to be highlighted. This was my best setup since I started doing markets, and it provided a great opportunity to take high definition photos with an actual camera. I've since used these photos on my website and for market applications. The Miju banner sign made it a lot more official at my market pop-up. With it being centered in my booth at the back wall, it was one of the things that customers looked at first when entering my market store, and that was my intention. It was a beautiful sunny day. I had a consistent flow of traffic throughout. I met some amazing people as always. People were receptive to my jewelry. They were curious and asked lots of questions about the waist beads and my business. There were a good amount of people that had never even heard of waist beads before, and I got to be there at the starting phase of their waist bead journey. So here's a bit more footage covering the vibes from that day.
Let's go. That would do.
Thank you so much for watching my video. If you're still here, I hope that there has been some information that is insightful if you're someone who participates in vendor or market store pop-ups. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will definitely be making more. Please like my video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will appreciate it. I don't know why my mouth is doing that anymore. Yeah, I guess it's time for me to go. But thank you so much for being here with me again, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Oh my god. I don't know. That's it, right? Do you stay hydrated? Stay hydrated. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Wow. Oh, that's so good. Honestly. I can't get enough. But hey, if any of you guys have access to real coconuts and want to send me some really juicy coconuts, send me some juicy coconuts so I can drink that. That would be nice. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm doing all this because I'm trying to hype myself up because it's been a minute since I have been behind this camera in this setup. Now officially shooting my second YouTube video, so let's go. All right. Uh-oh, look at that, I'm doing it again.